Welcome. This is Recidiva. I'm sharing a recording of a casual Skyrim playthrough using a mod list I built. My profound thanks to all the mod creators who have made this game a crowdsourced treasure. I hope you enjoy.
Okay, back after a little bit of a detour in my life. We had at the beginning of it's now after Thanksgiving, beginning of November. I had the absolute loathing car crash of Belgard, which sent me back on a bit of BioWare nostalgia. So then I started modding Mass Effect to reassure myself that maybe I wasn't wrong about BioWare games. But yeah, Mass Effect modded, okay, is amazing. So I'm recording that too. So I'll be doing that at the same time that I do this. Do a little bit of this and then a little bit of that. Mostly, I mean, obviously, we're like almost close to 300 hours in this game, and the main thing that's left are mopping up the random quests, the stuff that I haven't gotten in completionist, and reading all of the books. So in the meantime, my off time, since I'm done messing with my Skyrim list, I'm messing with my Mass Effect mod list. Okay, nothing miscellaneous. All right, we are going back to speak to Jazargo, sorry. And yeah, I still can't bring, I have to think, Kaidan. So I have Kaidan here and Kaidan in Mass Effect. Okay, so let's go talk to Tofdir. And alright. Yeah, I still got some stabby things to do. I don't want to bring Kaidan. Now, let me turn up the sound a little bit. And also forgive me because all of my commands are going to be wrong. I've tried to make my key bindings similar across games, but you really can't do that completely across games. So I'm probably gonna be like, tried to start playing again yesterday, and I'm like, my horse isn't working. Okay. And I need to remember to switch holster weapon which is an H in Mass Effect to the R that I use here to bring out weapons. Okay. I think the last time that I played, I said I was going to set it up so that I had a real bow, and I think I did. Let me double check. Yeah, I have a real bow, a real sword, and a real shield, and I believe, yeah, okay. There's my sword and shield. With my key set up, why? Let me check something. Alright, should be fine. Okay, so I have handmade gear, which most of the, I mean, since I went to Bound Bow, I haven't been using it, but I have handmade gear and Nord Hero arrows, which are modded. About 1,000 of those. I'm not going for loading stuff. Oh, cats are playing the murder game. I'm not going to be making like the big like Dragonborn arrows or anything like that that requires okay. So I've got a bow, arrows, and those are set up as hotkeys too. If you want to see in so my bow and my arrows um, will populate and equip when I use one as a hotkey. I've combined it into a group, and when I use my my mouse button, the mouse wheel on mine, it will equip my sword and shield. I haven't really gone for a magic. Let's see what I. Now I do have my destruction completely unfavored. Some of these. I do have my construction completely maxed. So, since I'm going to be playing, I know I've already watched someone play completely through. My son already did a Skyrim run through with all flames, and I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using cold in my next run through. So I am going to, for groups, I'm going to be using unbounded storms. So, okay. So the way that you can do this, I have, all right, go back to Sky UI, the way that they make groups. So now instead of having my bow as one here, which is what I use as my hotkey for my bow, it is now one has been remapped to put up the sword, the bow and the arrows. Okay, 2 for me is always heal. I'm not going to change that hotkey. 3 is, I think it's still my light source. Yeah. So I am going to change Unbounded Storms to 4. That way we're all set. So now I'm going to have a setup for okay. New. Okay, double 4 then. All right. Okay, I got it. Now this way I will have a setup to pull with a real bow that does what I want and real arrows that does what I want. Storm damage for groups and sword and shield for individuals when they get
Jezargo is
close.
pleased and more than a little jealous to greet the new archmage.
I've tested your scrolls.
And were they magnificent?
Were they supposed to explode? Because they exploded.
No. That was not supposed to happen. But Jezargo is pleased to see that you are here and not in pieces. You are a good friend to have done this. Jezargo will not forget it.
Ooh, Jizargo, I love your eyes. Okay.
May you walk on warm sand.
Thank you, Jizargo. Okay. Up here. So yeah, this is turning out to be one of my favorite setups. I haven't really explored much, but that was the point of doing a new run and figuring out solving problems for issues with my mod list and my UI.
Good to see Skyrim still has such fine people. You give an old man hope.
Here's your heart scale.
Wonderful, just wonderful. And it's just as I suspected. The energies need to be channeled back through the Nexus a second and third time. And that's it. I certainly think you deserve the first copy of the tome. Use it well.
Okay. Spell tome,
Take
dragon
care now.
hide. Okay. Fall of Winterhold. Locate the dragon priest Benar. Hall of the Dead leads to an ancient Nordic room predating Winterhold. Whilst exploring, I awoke the Lich of Benark, who took his canopic jar before disappearing. I need to stop him reaching the Oops. Well, okay then. Oops. What am I doing? Where am I going? Okay. Where are you, buddy? Oh, yeah, um, hmm. I think you've kind of reached the surface, huh? Let's see. I'm just gonna jump out here. Although, they're probably out, they, you probably made it, right? Yeah, looks like you made it. Oh, yeah, I have a horse. Hello, Nernroot. Okay, I'm guessing that my auto loot is off? Yeah, there we go. Okay. So probably on my, I have installed Siren Root and Vigilant didn't cut it. Vigilant had to go away. Um, yeah, these guys don't have much of a chance. No soul gem large enough. This used to be one of my first stops because I used to have a mod called Ice Horse. Reddy's Journal. First of Sun's Dawn 4E201. Master Len said the Staff of Chaos was crafted by Lorith and passed on through the generations until it was stolen by Jagar Tharn, before being shattered into pieces by the Eternal Champion. Okay, so that is the story of Arena. So I've been catching up. Now I really, I know the lore better. While the pieces may be lost forever, they say centuries later a descendant of Lorith sought to recreate their magic. The results were the Arms of Chaos, magical staves that harnessed the power of the sun and the moon. Yet one day the mage dismantled the staves and left them lifeless, convinced they were possessed by some unknown madness. It was my master's obsession to restore these artifacts, and in her honor it has become mine. If only I could speak to her, I would know what to do next. 17th of Rain's Hand, 4E201. Leave it to my late master to provide guidance on how to proceed. Going through her effects, I found a sketch of the necklace she often wore. It's identical in all ways but one. There's an orb set in the center of the amulet, teeming with fire. If it's true that Loreth's magic allowed one to travel to distant worlds, then it's possible this orb is a sigil stone. If my hunch is right, the staves are missing the same. So the sigil stones are what were used to open up Oblivion gates. 22nd of Rain's Hand, 4E201. My spirit renewed, I scoured the archives in Winterhold and found my path forward. I must find a way to summon 3 Daedra, guardians of the sigil stones. There's an altar on the eastern shore of the Sky Temple ruins, bearing a Daedric mark. It may be what I need. 28th of Rain's Hand, 4E201. I've hit a snag. The ring used to activate the summoning circle was buried with my late master, which I foolishly had shipped to her ancestral home. To think she even gifted me the ring, and I mistook it for sentiment. I feel thicker than next jelly. Still, complaining won't undo my mistake. The name of the ship was the Sea Stallion. I wonder if I can catch it before it departs. Second of last, seed 4E201. The courier has yet to return. I'm beginning to fear the worst, that the ship had already left the dock long before my letter arrived. I'm not sure what to do at this point. I haven't had much sleep, and my mind is starting to hear creaking noises where nothing exists. I wish my master were here still so I could seek her wisdom. They say there's a shrine of Arche at the pass to the south. In the morning, I'll visit it and pray for an answer. And she didn't make it. Hey. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Okay, Arm of the Moon, Arm of the Sun. This is Creation Club. Yeah, this used to be... There she is. This used to be one of my first spots because there was a mod called Ice Horse, and the book for Ice Horse would be like right there. So I'd have to come in and have like, unless I loaded the book. Sometimes I didn't load it, and I would actually come here and have to fight this like Draugr Lord like first thing. Ah, okay, yeah, that's new. The Winterhold Catacombs are new. So this is, yeah, I know this place really well. But now it is modded, so here we go. Okay, so the question is, where did my shield go? Come on, guys. Come on. That's weird. I do have it equipped. Oh, okay. Yeah, you see, this is part of the issue that I had to fix. The first-person animations are a little bit wonky, and for several shields, particularly modded shields, the first person, I'm used to being able to see the shield a bit more. Okay, I betcha I stored all my gems, huh? Yeah, I stored all my gems, so I can't recharge my sword, but that's okay. I'll try to remember to fix that. Alright, so I am going to be sneaky with the bow. Turn off my light, it's very dark. Turn on my light because it's very dark. See if I can open the door. My kitten Ash is singing the song of his people. Hello? Hello? Hi? Okay. It's sending me in a different direction anyway. I might be coming in the wrong part. It's hard to tell. Okay, where am I supposed to go, folks? To do the quest properly. So what I'm getting is that the dude already escaped, yes? Okay, so I probably should have... That's the exit. Should have come out that way. Yeah, because shit's already going down, huh? I did not stop them from reaching the surface. Ooh. Yeah, this is new.
Insolent bard, die!
Insolent bard, die? Oh! Yeah, insolent bard, die is taken from, oh, see, this is... Okay, this is one of the... Okay. Give me a second here. What? Okay, Kazavin's Fang is base game. Alright. I have a shout that can do something about this. Quit being a jerk. issue with making them land now. Is that okay? Good. I love when they like drag the ground when they land. That is awesome. Okay. Yeah, that is so cool. Okay. So I do know that there's I think Casavine is base game because there's Casavine's Fang, there's for Tolfdir, and okay. All right. Slew the dragon Kavozine and his priest Benark. I will record everything I learned of Old Winterhold and of the Great Collapse when I return to the college. Okay, yeah, that's just weird. Let me see. I think this is, yeah, I think this has got to be Immersive College of Winterhold because that's recycled recycled speech. Particularly insolent Bard Die is taking the speech from the intro quest for the Bard's College. Yeah, it's Immersive College of Winterhold. Okay. Which is, I believe, linked in. Alright. Got that. Okay. Well, I will not be doing that again because Immersive College of Winterhold in my game is gone. It just didn't patch well with other stuff, and that's a shame. Okay, I'm gonna kill Agnes. So I can say once I finally figured it out, I really, really like modded Mass Effect. The and Mass Effect 1 is now my favorite of the three, at least to explore, because the worlds now look, like this. You've got when you land with the Mako and run around, it's just beautiful environments and really amazing planets and stars and skies and sun. Hey. Yeah. Hey, buddy. Okay. So the animations, that's the thing. The animations stay. I don't have any way of putting those away, but what I can do, even when they're sheathed, they're going to appear until I clear them with putting spells in my hands. So that's the way to make unwanted weapons not appear. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to return to the college, although I probably can't right now because I'm visible right in front of people that want to kill me. Yeah, that was dumb.
You can't hide from me.
That's okay.
There you are.
Hey. Okay. And Mass Effect is kind of suffering from the same thing. I refuse to be anything. You're a target dummy, aren't you? I can't tell.
Hide from me.
I'm okay. I refuse to be anything but a sniper in Mass Effect. I simply will not do it.
You can't hide from me.
And I just played a and I just played a run where I did nothing but headshots. I mean, no skills, no abilities, no anything. I just played on casual and did very satisfying headshots for the entire game. So I'm going to be raising the difficulty to legendary, but I'm still. I mean, my character has played through the game enough to begin with. Why? Okay. So yeah, so Mass Effect 1 is now my absolute favorite because it is beautiful. And it has the most satisfying combat. So I'm happily replaying through that on Legendary while trying to tweak my Mass Effect 2 mod list to be as satisfying. But Mass Effect 2 just isn't as much fun, in my opinion, because it's not a sandbox game. It's completely on rails. You can't like run around. You can't take a break and like run around and explore things and get your collections and that's a bummer. Put on clothes yet? No? Okay. I could give him clothes. It's true. But, I don't care. Alright, Nazir.
Yes, listener?
Agnes is dead.
Don't worry, my friend. I'll spare you the facetious quip about killing a defenseless old woman.
Oh, thank you.
Infiltrating an occupied military fort and making it out in one piece is nothing to joke about. Well done. Your payment for services rendered.
There's more contracts available.
Well, yes, 2 of them. But you're reaching the end of what I have available. Your targets are a dark elf wizard named Maloril in the dwarven ruin of Mazinchaleft, and Helvard, the housecarl of Falkreath. Kill these 2, and I'll have one last contract to give you. I'm just finalizing some details now. Happy hunting.
Okay. What? Create Hand of Glory. Yeah, I could try again.
Listener, please. If Cicero is going to be a part... Got to admit...
Okay, it's not gonna let me. Again. And it is, yeah, not the game's fault. As I'd mentioned, I patched Legacy of the Dragonborn poorly. So that is now fixed in my new run through, and we'll see. But I don't know that I'm going to be doing that content for a while. Oh, I love it here. Okay, yeah, Mass Effect looks good. It doesn't look this good. It just looks infinitely better than it did. So yeah, the planets that you're on, they now have grass, but of course they don't have like trees or wildlife, other than the shifty looking cows, and pie jacks. And I haven't done any upgrades on those, but I don't see that there are lots of upgrades. Oh hey, sorry, yeah, I just keep walking through places now, huh?
That's close enough.
Okay. I don't need to kill you. I haven't. So I've downloaded a lot of Mass Effect stuff. The modding is pretty wet floors. The modding is tedious. It doesn't work the same way that mods do for Bethesda. You can't really tinker with your set and add a little bit here and a little bit there.
That stinking jail. I'd have died in
Um,
myself. Need me some scuba.
It has a weird system where you add all of your mods and then you add textures. But once you add textures, you cannot add any more mods at all. Your game, like you can't. So once you decide that you are done, that's it. So I did a run through of Mass Effect 1, and then in order to make any changes, I had to wipe. Oh, we're hanging up. So there's that. I had to wipe out my entire game and start over. So, and the textures take a very long time to install. I mean, as mods go, a lot of mods 1 or 2 minutes, but the texture mods tend to run about 15-20 minutes each. I don't have to walk all the way out of here. I can port. So if you want to make a change, it's going to take you about 5-6 hours to do it. That includes well, you have to essentially uninstall your game and reinstall it. Now, the mod manager for Mass Effect 3 can do that for you. But so that's what I had to do. At first, I had to completely uninstall all of it and redo it. Fortunately, it also doesn't bug or crash. Once you have your whole mod set up, your game's going to work. It just is going to have what you want or not have what you want. Whereas the mods here are you can just try to boot up and it'll just go nope and crash. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty here. Okay. So there aren't millions and millions and millions of mods for Mass Effect. It's essentially something that if there is an asset for if there's an already existing asset, you can use it. So, my Shepherd can now wear Arya's outfit. That's a game asset, and so you can use the assets that are already in the game. So people have been incredibly creative with stuff like that. But I prefer Mass Effect 1 because you can have appearance gear while wearing other gear, whereas I haven't been able to get that to work in Mass Effect 2.
What do you think?
Excuse me. Coming through. And part of why I really had to redo Mass Effect 2 was because the running animation is just so goofy. So there is a mod Okay, at the Sky Temple ruins, I found the body of a mage who's attempting to attain the sigil stones to restore her magical items. I'll need a special ring to summon the necessary Daedra, which the mage accidentally shipped away on a cargo ship called the Sea Stallion. I found the ring in a coffin deep in Pilgrim's Trench and can now use it to summon the Daedra. Okay, so I already did part of the quest. Okay. So, yeah, I ran through Mass Effect 1 and then had to wipe it out and redo it because I wanted to add some stuff. And then I started Mass Effect 2 and had to wipe it out and redo it because I wanted to change the animations because they're so goofy. I very much dislike playing a female character that that runs like a guy. So, and I added some more outfits and eyes and things like that. So we're going to see how that goes. I have yet to test that. So now I'm like testing and running through all of my new Mass Effect stuff and all my new Skyrim stuff. Yay. Hello? Oh. Yeah, you're already running away, huh? Wow, I haven't been saving. Yeah, I've just got autos. Yeah, I'm out of the habit of saving. Sign that I've been playing stable games that don't crash. Alright. Windy Ridge Cottage seems like a good place to go. There's something, yeah, I realized that I had never read through the code. I've been really enjoying reading all the books here. And if I'm wanting the experience of just the lore-rich thing, I could just watch this video series, listen to it. So I want to do the same thing for Mass Effect because I want to learn all of the lore. Which, as much as I did research of watching or playing, there's a lot I never read. So essentially, these series behave like an audiobook for me that I can go back and review. And Mass Effect will play. It does. Mass Effect 1, at least, has narrated um, codex entries, which is very cool. The Rear Guard by Tennis Mori. Castle would hold. No matter the forces, the walls of Cascabel Hall would never fail. But that was small consolation for Menegur. He was hungry. In fact, he'd never been so hungry. The well in the atrium of the fortress supplied him with enough water to hold there until the fourth era, but his stomach reminded Menegur, minute to minute, that he needed food. The wagon load of supplies mocked him. When his army, the forces of the King of Solitude, had left Cascabel Hall, and he had manned the battlements as the rear guard to protect their retreat, they'd left a wagon behind to supply him with enough food for months. It was not until the night after they left that he inspected the larder and found that nothing edible was in the wagon. Trunk after trunk was filled with netch armor from the army's incursions into Morrowind. Apparently his Nord confederates had assumed that the lightly opaque material was hardtack and aspic. If the Dunmer whose caravan had been raided knew about this, they would never be able to stop laughing. Menegur thought that his fellow mercenary and kinswoman Erin would have found this amusing as well. She had spoken with great authority about netch leather, being an expert of sorts on light armor, but she had made a point to mention that it could not be eaten like other leather in occasions of hardship. It was a pity she couldn't be there to enjoy the irony, Menegur thought savagely. She had returned to Morrowind even before the king's army had left, preferring a life as a wanted fugitive to a free existence in the cold of Skyrim. All the weeds in the courtyard had been devoured by the rearguard's 16th day manning Cascabel Hall. The entire castle had been scoured, rotten tubers in the mulch pile found and consumed, a dusty bouquet in the countess's bedchamber eaten, almost every rat and insect but the most cunning infesting the castle walls had been tracked down and gobbled up. The castellan's chambers, filled with acrid, inedible law books, had yielded up a couple of crumbs of bread. Menegur had even scraped moss from the stones. There was no denying it. He would be dead from starvation before his army returned to break the ranks of the enemies who surrounded the fortress. The worst part, said Menegur, talking to himself on the only The worst part, said Menegur, who had taken to talking to himself on only the second day alone in the castle, is how close sustenance is. A vast arbor of golden apples stretched acre after acre near the castle walls. The sunlight cast a seductive gleam on the fruit, and the cool wind carried sweet smells into Cascabel to torture him. Like most Bosmer, Menegur was an archer. He was a master of long and medium long-distance fighting, but in close quarters, as he would be if he dared to leave the castle and enter the enemy camp in the arbor, he knew he would not last long. At some point, he knew he would have to try, but he'd been dreading the day. It was upon him now. Menegur put the netch armor on for the first time, feeling the powdery, almost velvet texture of the rendered leather against his skin. There was also a barely perceptible throb, which he recognized as the remnant nematocysts of the netch's venomous flesh, still tingling months after its death with domesticated poison. Yikes! The combination made him feel energized. Erin had described the sensation perfectly, just as she had explained how to defend himself while wearing netch leather armor. Under cover of night, Menegur crept out of the back gate of the castle, locking it behind him with a rather cumbersome key. He made for the arbor as quietly as he could, but a passing sentry, coming behind a tree, saw him. Remaining calm, Menegur did as he remembered Erin had instructed, only moving after the attack had been launched. The sentry's blade glided against the armor and knocked to the left, throwing the young man off balance. That was the trick, as he understood it. You had to be prepared to be hit, and merely move with the blow, allowing the membranous armor to divert the injury away. Use your enemy's momentum against him, as Erin used to say. There were several more close encounters in the arbor, but each swing of an axe and each thrust of a sword found purchase elsewhere. With handfuls of apples, Menegur ran the gauntlet back to the castle. He locked the back gate door behind him and fell into an orgy of eating. For week after week, the Bosmer stole out to gather his food. The guards began anticipating his raids, but he kept his schedule irregular and always remembered, when attacked, to wait for the blow, accept it, and then turn. In such a way he lived and survived his lonely vigil in Cascabel Hall. 4 months later, as he was preparing another seizure of apples, Menegur heard a loud clamor at the front gate. Surveying a group from the safe distance on the battlements, he saw the shields of the King of Solitude, his ally, the Count of Cascabel, and their enemy, the King of Faerun. Evidently a truce had been called. Menegar opened the gates, and the combined armies flooded the courtyard. Many of the knights of Harun sought to shake the hand of the man they had named the Shadow of the Arbor, expressing their admiration of his defensive skills and apologizing good-naturedly for their attempts to slay him. Only doing their job, you know. "There's hardly an apple left in the vine," said the King of Solitude. "Well, I started on the edges and worked my way in," explained Menegar. "I brought back extra fruit to tempt the rats out of the wall so I could have a little meat as well." "We spent the last several months working out the details of the truce," said the king. "Really quite exhausting. At any rate, the Count will be taking back possession of his castle now, but there is a small detail we need to work out. You're a mercenary, and as such responsible for your own expenses. If you'd been a subject of mine, things might be different, but there are certain old rules of law that must be respected." Menegar anticipated the strike. "The problem is," the king continued, "you've taken a good deal of the Count's crops while here. By any reasonable computation, you've eaten an amount equal to and likely exceeding your mercenary wages. Obviously, I would not want to penalize you for the excellent job you've done defending the castle in uncomfortable circumstances, but you agree that it's important that we observe the old rules of law, don't you?" "Of course," replied Menegar, accepting the blow. "I'm delighted to hear that," said the king. "Our estimation is that you owe the Count of Cascabel 37 imperial gold, which I will gladly pay to myself, with interest after the autumn-tide harvest," said Menegar. "There is more left on the vine than you suggest." The Kings of Solitude and Faerun and the Count of Cascabel stared at the Bosmer. "We agreed to abide to the strictest old rules of law, and I've had time to read a great many books over the time you were making your truce. In 3E 246, during the reign of Uriel IV, the Imperial Council, in an attempt to clear up some questions of property rights in Skyrim during those chaotic days, decreed that any man without a liege who accepted a castle for more than 3 months would be granted the rights and titles of that estate. It's a good law, of course, meant to discourage absence and foreign landlords." Menegar smiled, feeling the now familiar sensation of a glancing stripe diverting. "By the rule of law, I am the Count of Cascabel. The rearguard's sons still hold the title of the Count of Cascabel, and he grows the finest, most delectable apples in the Empire." Yeah, in reality, they'd shoot him right then and kill him and problem solved, but okay. The Red Book of Riddles. This handy book, it's written in old-timey language, so forgive me. And it's misspelled on purpose. Okay. This handy book doth contain all diverse manner of riddles and follies, and by means of careful study, the prudent scholarly gentleman may find himself no longer discomfited by the sharp wit of his fellows. The posing and puzzling of riddles is a convention of polite, aristocratic Western society. Nobles and social aspirants collect books for riddles and study them, hoping thereby to increase the chances of their appearing sly and witty in conversation. Question. It has a tail, a side, and a head. I call it what I call a snake. It has no body, and it is dead. The answer. It must be a drake. The question. Poets know the hearts of men in myrrh, but beasts can't know my heart, you see. This book was written by a bear. The answer. It is not a book of poetry. Question. I gave you a sock, not unlike a box, with hammers and nails all around it, 2 lids open when it knocks. The answer. It must have been a great hit. Boy. The Red Kitchen Reader. Pasimocles quoth. Though naturally modest, I must admit to some pleasure in being dubbed by our Emperor's father, the late Pelagius IV, as the finest connoisseur in Tamriel. He was also good enough to appoint me the first, and to this day, the only master of cuisine in the imperial court. Other emperors, of course, had master chefs and cooks in their staff, but only during the reign of Pelagius was there someone of rarefied tastes to plan the menus and select the finest produce to be served at court. His son Uriel requested that I continue in that position, but I was forced to graciously decline the invitation because of age and poor health. This book, however, is not intended to be autobiography. I've had a great many adventures in my life as a knight of fine dining, but my intention for this book is much more specific. Many times I've been asked, what is the best thing you ever ate? The answer to that is not a simple one. Much of the pleasure of a great meal is not only in the food, it's in the setting, the company, the mood. Eat an indifferently cooked roast or a simple stew with your one true love, and it is a meal to be remembered. Have an excellent 12-course feast with dull company while feeling slightly ill, and it will be forgotten or remembered only with distaste. Sometimes meals are memorable for the experiences that come before them. Fairly recently, in northern Skyrim, I had a bit of bad luck. I was with a group of fishermen observing their technique of capturing a very rare, very delicious fish called marengar. Fish is found only far from shore, so it was a week's voyage out beyond civilization. Well, we found our school of marengar, but as the fishermen began spearing them, the blood in the water attracted a family of drag. It capsized the boat and everyone on it. I managed to save myself, but the fishermen and all our supplies were lost. Sailing is not, alas, a skill I have picked up over the years, and it took me 3 weeks, with no provisions, to find my way back to the kingdom of solitude. I had managed to catch enough small fish to eat raw, but I was still delirious from hunger and thirst. The first meal I had on shore of Nordic roast boar, jasbay wine, and yes, fillet of marengar would have been excellent under any circumstances, but because of the threat of starvation I had faced, it was divine beyond words. Sometimes meals are even memorable for the experiences that follow them. In a tavern in Falinesti, I was introduced to a simple peasant dish called colloquy. Delicious little balls of flesh, thick with spice and juice, so savory I asked the proprietress whence they came. Mother Pascost explained that the calliope were an arboreal rodent that fed exclusively on the most tender branches of the grot oak, and I was fortunate enough to be in Valenwood at the time of the annual harvest. I was invited to join with a small colony of Inga monkeys, who alone could gather these succulent little mice. Because they lived only in the slenderest branches of the trees, and only on the ends of the same branches, the Imga had to climb beneath them and jump up to pick the calliope from their perches. Imga are, of course, naturally dexterous, but I was then relatively young and spry, and they let me help them. When I could never jump as high as they could. While I could never jump as high as they could, with practice, I found that if I kept my head and upper body rigid and launched off the ground with a scissors-like kick, I could reach the calliope in the lowest branches of the tree. I believe I gathered 3 calliope myself, though with considerable effort. To this day I salivate at the thought of calliope, but my mind is on the image of myself and several dozen Imgas leaping around beneath the shade of the grot oaks. Then, of course, there are the rare meats memorable for what came before, after, and during the meal, which brings me to the finest thing I ever ate. The meal that began my lifelong obsession with excellent cuisine. As a child growing up in Shaden Hall, I did not care for food at all. I recognized the value of nutrition, for I was not a complete dullard. But I cannot say that mealtime brought me any pleasure at all. Partly, of course, this was the fault of my family's cook, who believed that spices were an invention of the Daedra, and that good Imperials should like their food boiled, textureless, and flavorless. Though I thought she was alone in assigning a religious significance to this, my sampling of traditional Cyrodiilic cuisine suggests that the philosophy is regrettably common in my homeland. Though I did not enjoy food per se, I was not a morose, unadventurous child in other respects. I enjoyed the fights at the arena, of course, and nothing made me happier than wandering the streets of my town with my imagination as my only companion. It was on one such jaunt on a sunny Fredas in mid-year that I made a discovery that changed my heart and my life. There were several old abandoned houses down the street from my own home, and I often played around them, imagining them to be filled with desperate outlaws or haunted by hundreds of evil spirits. I never had the nerve to go inside. In fact, had I not that day seen some other children who delighted in teasing me in the past, I would never have gone in. But I needed a sanctuary, so I ran into the closest one. The house seemed to be as desolate on the inside as on the outside, further proof that no one lived there, and had not for some time. When I heard footsteps, I can only assume that the loathsome little urchins I hoped to avoid had followed me in. I escaped to the basement, and from there past a broken-down wall that led to a well. I could still hear the footsteps above, and I decided that I was still loath to confront my tormentors. Knocking aside the rusty locks on the well, I slipped down below. The well was dry, but I discovered it was far from empty. There was a sort of sub-basement to the house, 3 large rooms that were clean, furnished, and evidently not abandoned at all. My senses told me someone was living in the house, after all. Not only my sense of sight, but my sense of smell. For one of the rooms was a large red-painted kitchen, and Spread out on the coals of the oven was a roast, carved into small morsels. Passing a beautiful and appropriate bas-relief of a mother carving a roast for her grateful children, I beheld the kitchen and the wonders within. Like I said, food had never interested me before, but I was transfixed. And even now, as I write this, words fail me in describing the rich aroma that hung in the air. It was like nothing I'd ever smelled in my family's kitchen, and I was unable to stop myself from popping one of the steaming chunks of meat into my mouth. The taste was magical, the flesh tender and sweet. Before I knew it, I had eaten everything on the stove, and I learned at that very second the truth that food can and should be sublime. I learned at that very second the truth that food can and should be sublime. After gorging myself and having my culinary epiphany, I was conflicted on what to do. Part of me wanted to wait down in that red kitchen until the chef returned, so I could ask him what his secret recipe was for the delicious meat. It's people, isn't it? Part of me recognized that I had stolen into someone's house and eaten their dinner, and it would be wise to leave while I could, and that's what I did. Time and time again, I've tried to return to that strange, wonderful place, but Shadenhall has changed over time. Old houses have been reclaimed and new houses abandoned. I know what to look for on the inside of the house. The well, the beautiful etching of a woman preparing to carve out a roast for her children, the red kitchen itself, but I've never been able to find the house again. After a while, as I grew older, I stopped trying. It's better that it remains a memory, the most perfect meal I ever ate. The inspiration for my life that followed all was cooked up together with that fabulous meat, right there in the red kitchen. It was people. You bet it was people. You ate people! Gross, she says as she carries around human flesh and only stops carrying it because Kaidan doesn't like it. It's good for alchemy, Kaidan.
Okay, I need to craft the Warlock Mark at a forge and Arm of the Moon at a staff enchanter. I think maybe one of the easiest places for me to go for that would be Mirrorwatch? The name of it? Yeah, there's Mistwatch and Mirrorwatch in this game. Alright. Watch is New Morthal. Where's Morthal? It's in the swamps, like up here-ish, right? Well, let's just look for it. Ooh, it's not letting me. Weird. Oh, that's funky. Mirror watch. Okay. Okay, I rarely finish this quest, so I don't know much about it. Don't always go there and pick this stuff up. Okay, Staff Enchanter's over here. Arm of the Moon. Comp tag 1288220. Okay. Arm of the Sun. And Warlock's Mark. There we go. Okay, hey. Alright. Oops. Alright, there we go. And yeah, that's it. Sky Temple Ruins, I found the body of a mage who was attempting to obtain 3 sigil stones to restore her magical items. Okay, so you just create the Arm of the Sun, Arm of the Moon, Warlock's Mark. That's it. You're done. Okay. Well, that was easy. As long as I didn't store all the stuff at the museum first. Then it gets less easy. Alright, if I come across Cicero and he's still just wearing undies, I should probably give him clothes to wear. That's a lot of bone piles, guys. Are we dragging the bodies back here? Is that really necessary? Okay, buddy. Here we go. Oh, my keyboard. Wow, my keyboard is not working. Well, that's a problem. Weird that I have to tell him to wear the clothes he already has, but that's the way it goes, huh? Okay, so my modded ring of the fashion designer. Put it on, talk to him, and then I can dress him up.
Let's kill someone.
Hey, buddy, how about we just put on some clothes, huh? So he has 5 of his... Oh, sweetie. Why do you make me do this? Ah! These are, Okay, yeah, those are, museum things. I guess you get them if you kill him. Normally. There you go, buddy. Okay. Good job.
Cicero lives to serve.
Okay. Forgive me, all of my audio settings are completely off. I don't even know if this is recording correctly. I don't know if it's distorted. I've had upgrades. So-called upgrades, but OBS has updated, NVIDIA has updated, and all of my sound drivers have updated, and now nothing works, so. If I knew better how to fix it, I would have done it already. But just about every time I log on, it asks me, it doesn't work until I, like, change an audio setting. Oy. Okay, hey Nazir, I think this is the end here.
Back from your little vacation in Falkreath. So did you enjoy the sights, sample the food, kill the house Carl?
Oh yeah, now I have to take the ring off.
So many contracts, so little time.
Maluriel is dead.
I hope the elf didn't give you too much trouble. I once got set on fire by a sorcerer. Nasty business, that. But I digress. Here's your payment.
Halvard is dead.
Well, that's sure to throw a branch into Falkreath's well-oiled political machine. Here's your payment. Well earned as always.
I'm ready for the last contract.
Yes. Yes, I believe you are. Very well, then. You need to find and kill Safia, the captain of the pirate ship, Red Wave. The ship travels the northern coast and sometimes isn't even in Skyrim at all, so you'll have to be patient. Good luck.
Tell me about Sophia.
Ah, yes. The pirate captain. A ruthless she-devil, by all accounts. Deadly with a blade. And let's not forget her crew. Loyal and bloodthirsty, the lot of them. This is my final contract, and certainly the most challenging. Be careful with this one, my friend.
Hey, Amanda, you want to come up, sweetheart? He's just sitting waiting patiently. Come on, honey. Come on. Or are you just trying to decide? I'll get it all floofed. Put on floof so it's comfy. Yeah? Blankets and there you go. I'm also protecting myself from your claws. Okay. Kill Sophia. Sophia. Pirate. Kill the pirate. Okay. Kill the pirate. Kill the pirate. You know what I'm saying? No? Hello, love. This can be over and we can take Kaidan back out, huh? Turns out, I don't like being an assassin. I do when my company is more fun. Hey, no being on the keyboard. Okay. There are no enemies nearby, my god. Kitty, stop. Why? Oh, why is the ground shaking? Huh? Because I hear a dragon. Let's see. Oh, okay. Oh god, they're all bad guys. Okay. Kitty, I know you want me to pet you, but they're a bad guy. Okay. Oh my hotkeys. Where are they? Okay. It's you and me, huh, troll? Not just me. Is this the Santa guy? I think that's the Santa guy walking with his reindeer, so he's not. Yeah. Hey, Santa guy. You guys were gonna help with the dragon? It's nice. It's dead. You can't have its soul. There we go. Okay, reasonably happy kitty, not chomping on anything. Didn't smell with his teeth. Left my lunch alone. It's tough. It's yummy. I'm proud of you.
Hear the noises. What does it want to take from us now?
Nah. DJ, you're lucky you're alive. Okay. DJ is the sister of the lights out guy. No, you can't have the keyboard, baby. I just got it to work again. Okay.
My father was...
Okay.
I've only been a part of the Red Wave's crew for a few weeks, but I've already learned to stay out of captains.
Safia. Okay. Alright, let's go be sneaky, huh, sweetheart? Yeah? You're the right color. You could be sneaky. I believe in you. Okay. I'm used to doing third person view now. Wow, you guys do not clean. These are not safe beds. Gross. Parrots are gross. Elven hunter boots. Okay. It's still crazy to see that there's some things I don't have after almost 300 hours of playing and auto loot. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see. Ship. Where's the down? There's usually a down. Okay, it came from there. I'm gonna turn on my light because they'll see me. Hello? Let's hear it for really good stealth. Oh, you guys are gross. Pretty potions. Alright. No, she's not down here. She has a captain's cabin somewhere upstairs, huh? Alright. You go up, baby. This place is smelly. It stinks in here. Okay, let's find the captain. She is upstairs. Okay. Hey, honey. Headshot. Ooh, I took her head. Okay. Okay. I have to take off the ring now. Come on now. Oh. It's Sabine. Yeah, it's just hanging out, doing Sabine things. She's gonna be a little surprised when she turns around. And especially as surprised.
Find whoever did this.
Oh, hey Sabine. I think it was you. I think you did it. Hey, kitten. Okay, Kitty, now we ask, why does Cicero have 5 sets of clothes in their inventory and are not wearing any of them? Is it just Cicero doing Cicero things? Like Sabine was doing Sabine things? I love that my job doesn't actually require any
Got to
listening.
admit, I find the Night Mother's presence comforting.
You shouldn't.
Still here? What's the matter? Can't handle what I'm throwing your way?
The hell? Sophia's dead.
By Sithis, now I am truly impressed. To kill a pirate captain on her own ship, no less. Simply masterful. You've not only earned your payment, but my respect as well. And believe me, friend, that does not come easily. I'm afraid that concludes our business. You have exhausted all available additional contracts. But I'm sure you've got plenty to keep you busy right about now,
Okay.
Go on now.
Yeah, I believe that is the end of... I could do, the moans of the damned. I could do, what? Dark Brotherhood Forever? Forever, essentially? It's a radiant repeating quest. I guess that would require the listening. You do have to go, speak to the person. Okay, look at how much we've done. That's a lot. Look at the scroll. Scrolls. Yeah, that's a lot. These are a lot of quests. Wow. Okay. Alright. So let's find a dungeon. I think I'm probably gonna have to go to Solstheim? Okay, Amulet of the Moon. Khajiit Caravan. Karjo. Oh, that's gonna be... that's... Okay. I'm gonna try... Okay. I'm gonna try to find the caravans. See where they are right now. Try to pick up the quest. Slight change of plans. I think I'm going to see if I can find them, but if I can't, head to Solstheim and do some of that so that I can come back here. Now you can see my back is red because I have an invisible red enchanted bow. Okay.
Something. The road makes this one.
Walking the world. I'm gonna steal it. Because I can. I'm playing a character that doesn't steal, so it's like, oh, I can take it this time. Cool. I am not constrained.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, let me head over to Solstheim and do Solstheim stuff, because if I go pick up Kaidan and then I end up heading over there, I'm gonna have to ask him to leave, and that's rude. Hoping he's having fun.
The Northern Maiden is shipshape and ready to go.
Captain Bjarland does the business around here. I'm just a shipsman.
Oh, okay, I might as well just port.
The Northern Maiden is shipshape and ready to go.
The falling leaves are really pretty. The refugees. Agaris Abri. The smell of the bay oozed through the stones of the cellar, salt and briny decay. The cellar itself had its own sense of old wine turned to vinegar, mildew, and the more exotic spices of herbs the healers had brought with them to tend to the wounded. There were more than 50 people squeezed into the big earthen room, which had once been forgotten storage for the brothel above. The groaning and whimpering had ceased for now, and all was still, as if the hospital had turned into a mass grave. "Mother," a red-garbed boy whispered. "What was that?" The boy's mother was about to answer him when there was another rolling roar from the outside, which grew louder and louder as if some great but incorporeal beast had come into the cellar. The walls trembled and dust burst from the ceiling in a rain of powder. Unlike the last time, no one screamed. They waited until the weird, haunted sound had passed, and then was replaced by the soft rumble of a distant battle. A wounded soldier began whispering Mara's prayer from the doomed. "Nankar," a Bosmer woman curled up in a cot hissed, her eyes feverish, flesh white and wet with sweat. "He is coming." "Who is coming?" asked the boy, grasping his mother's skirt tight. "Who do you think, lad? A sweetsmonger?" A grizzled, one-armed redguard growled. "The Cameron usurper." The boy's mother shot an angry look at the old warrior. "She doesn't know what she's saying. She's sick." The boy nodded. His mother was usually right. He had not yet even been born when people began whispering that the Cameron usurper was coming toward her little village, and she had packed up their belongings to flee. The neighbors had laughed at her, she said, saying that Rihad and Tanith would handily defeat him. Her husband, Lukar's father, whom he was never to meet, had also laughed at her. It was the harvest time, and she would miss out on the celebrations. But his mother, Miyaki, was right. 2 weeks later, after she fled the village, she heard the tale that it had been obliterated during the night with no survivors. Rihad and Tanith had both fallen. The usurper was unstoppable. Lukar had been born and grown up in refugee camps throughout Hammerfell. He had never known a friend for more than a few days. He knew that when the sky burned red to the west, they'd pack up and move east. When it burned to the south, they moved north. At last, after 12 years of moving from camp to camp, they had taken passage across the Iliac Bay to the province of Hyrok and the barony of Dwinin. There Miakai had promised and hoped that they would have a peaceful, permanent home. It was so green there, it blinded him. Unlike Hammerfell, which was only green in certain seasons and in certain places, Dwinin was verdant year-round, until wintertide, when it began to snow, and Lurkar had been frightened of it at first. He was ashamed to think of it now, when there was real danger, but the red clouds of war, the stink and pain of the refugee camp, that was familiar. Now the red sky was on the horizon of the bay and coming closer, and he longed for the days when a scattering of white made him cry. "My God!" the Bosmer woman cried out again. "He is coming, and he will bring death." "No one is coming," said a pretty young Breton healer, coming to the woman's side. Hush now. Hello? Came a voice from above. The whole room, almost together as one, gasped. A Bosmer limped down the shoddy wooden stairs, his friendly face very obviously not that of the Cameron usurper. Sorry if I frightened you, he said. I was told there were healers here, and I could use a little help. Rosanna hurried to take a look at the Bosmer's wounds on his leg and chest. Disheveled, but still beautiful, she was one of the favorites at the brothel, who had learned her healing skill, along with her more vocational skills at the House of Dubella. She carefully but quickly pulled the rent leather cuirass, trousers, tassets, greaves, and boots off him, and placed them to the side while she examined the injuries. The old Red Guard warrior picked them up and studied them. You were in the war? Next to it is probably a better way to put it. The Bosmer smiled, wincing slightly at Rosanna's touch. Behind it, beside it, in front of it. My name's Orban Elmlock. I'm a scout. I try to avoid the real battle so I can get back and report what I see. A good job for people who don't like the color of their own blood very much. Hizu, said the warrior, shaking Orban's hand. I can't fight anymore, but I can fix up this armor if you're going to return. You're a leathersmith? No, just a jack of all trades, replied Hizim, opening up a small canister of wax to prep the hard but flexible leather. I can tell you were a scout from the armor, though. Can you tell us what you've been spying on? We've been down in here for half a day now, with no word from the outside. The entire Iliac Bay is one great battlefield on the waves, said Orban, and sighed as Rosenya's spell began to close the jagged but shallow wounds. We've shut off the invasion from the mouth of the bay, but I was coming from the coast, and the enemy's army is marching over the Rothgarian mountains. That's where I had my little scuffle. It's not too surprising, moving the flank in from the side where the front battle is occupied. It's a play right out of Cameron Kaltos' Book of Tricks, The Heart King Bard. The Heart King? Luca asked. He'd been listening quietly, understanding everything except that. Haman Cameron, the Cameron usurper. Haman Heart King. They're all the same, lad. He's a complicated fellow and needs more than one name. You know him? Miak I asked, stepping forward. Near on 20 years before this whole black, bloody business. I was Cameron Kaltos' chief scout, and Haman was his sorcerer and advisor. I helped them both when they were vying for the Cameron throne and began the conquest of... Ow! Rosanna had ceased her healing. With eyes of fury, she had reversed her spell, and the closed, mended wounds were opening again, dark infections returning. She held him with surprising strength when Orban tried to push back. You bastard! The healer, Curtison, said. I have a cousin in Falanesti, a priestess. She's fine, Orban yelped. Lord Kaltos was very adamant about not harming anyone who did not pose a threat. I think the people of Gadat would disagree with that assessment, said Hizim coldly. That was horrible. The worst thing I have ever seen. Orban nodded. Kaltos wept when he saw what Haman had done. My master did everything he could to stop it, begging the Heart King to return to Valenwood, but he turned on Kaltos, and we fled. We are not your enemy, and we never have been. Kaltos could do nothing to prevent the horror that the usurper has brought to the Colovian West and Hammerfell, and he's fought for 15 years to prevent more. The frightening bestial roar passed through the cellar again, even louder than before. The wounded could not help groaning in helpless terror. And what is that? Miakai sneered. Another of Cameron Kaltos' tricks that the usurper picked up? It is indeed a trick, as a matter of fact, Orban said above the screech. It's a phantasm he employs to scare people. He had to use fear tactics in the beginning when his power was ascending, and he had to fall back on them now for his power is waning. That's why it took him 2 years to conquer Valenwood, and another 13 to half-conquer Hammerfell. No offense to you Red Guards, but it isn't only your battle prowess that's been holding him back. He does not have the support he used to have from his master. The echoing roar increased in intensity before once again falling silent. My God, the Bosmer woman groaned. He comes, and he will destroy all. His master? Asked Lucar, but Orban's eyes had gone to the Bosmer woman curled up in her blood-soaked cot. Who is she? Orban asked Rosena. One of the refugees, of course, from your friendly little war in Valenwood before you and your Kautos changed sides, the healer replied. I think her name is Callus. By Jeffrey, Orban whispered under his breath, limping over to the woman's cot and wiping the sweat and blood-streaked hair from her pallid face. Callus, it's Orban. Do you remember me? How did you get here? Did he hurt you? My God, Callus moaned. That's all she says, said Rosena. I don't know what that is. Orban frowned, not the usurper, though she knew him too very well. She was a favorite of his. His favorites? You, Kautos, her? All seem to have turned against him, said Miakai. That is why he will fall, replied Hizim. Armored footfall rang along the ceiling, and the cellar door burst open. It was the captain of Baron Othrock's castle guards. The ducks are on fire. If you want to live, you'll need to take refuge at Castle Whitemore. We need help, Rosena called back, but she knew that the guards were needed for defense, not to help carry the sick to safety. With 10 guards who could be spared, and the most able-bodied of the wounding assisted, the cellar was emptied as the streets of Dwinnen filled with smoke, and fire began to spread through the chaos. It had been a single fireball miscast out at sea, striking the docks, but the damage would be tremendous. Some hours later, in the courtyard of the mighty castle, the healers were able to set up the cots and begin to tend once again to the suffering of the innocent. The first person Rosena found was Orban Elmlock. Even with his wounds reopened, he had helped carry 2 of her patients into the castle. I'm sorry, she said, as she pressed her healing hands into the wounds. I lost my temper. I forgot that I'm a healer. Where is Callus? Orban asked. She's not here? Rosena said, looking round. She must have run away. Run away? But wasn't she injured? It was not a healthy situation, but new mothers can surprise you with what they can do when it's all over. She was pregnant? Orban gasped. Yes. It wasn't such a difficult birth in the end. She was holding the boy in her arms when I saw her last. She said she had done it herself. She was pregnant, Orban murmured again. The mistress of the Cameron usurper was pregnant. Word quickly spread throughout the castle that the battle was over, and more than that, the war was over. Aemon Cameron's forces had been defeated at sea, and in the mountains the Heart King was dying. Lucar watched down from the battlements into the dark woods that surrounded Dwinnen. He'd heard about Callus, and he imagined a desperate woman fleeing with her newborn baby in her arms into the wilderness. Callus would have nowhere to go, no one to protect them. She and her baby would be a refugee, like Miakai and him had been. Reflecting back, he remembered her words. He is coming, and he will bring death. He will destroy all. Lucar remembered her eyes. She was sick, but not afraid. Who was this he who was coming if the Cameron usurper was dead? Did she say nothing else? Asked Orban. She told me the baby's name, Rosena replied. Mankar. The Rise and Fall of the Blades by Anonymous. There are many that still remember the Blades. There are fewer that can pass down their stories, their origins, and their downfall. My father could in his proudest moments. He said to me, "You keep secrets like the Blades." The Blades were good at keeping secrets. They didn't write down much. They passed information carefully between their spies in every province to their elite members that protected the emperors. Even amongst their members, they kept much secret. Most associate the Blades with the ceremonial Akaviri armor and curved long swords. One can trace the Blades back to the fiercest warriors of Akavir, the Dragon Guard. It was there, just as they would do in Tamriel, that they protected rulers and their kingdom. But recent discoveries show it to be much more than that. Many classic texts tell us of the adventures of Akavir, known as the Dragonlands of the East. Many from Tamriel have attempted to conquer it, most famously Emperor Uriel V and his 10th Legion in 3E288, as documented in the Imperial Dispatch, Disaster at Ireland. Dragons have long been legend in Akavir, and many believe that their brief appearance in Tamriel's history are those that escaped Akavir, for it was there they were hunted and killed off by the Dragon Guard. The Dragon Guard would follow those that fled to Tamriel in the late First Era. Invading from the north, the Dragon Guard met not only dragons, but the men of Skyrim, who don't meet invasions with pitchers of mead. The Dragon Guard cut a path through Skyrim, and it was not until they were stopped by Rem and Cyrodiil during the Battle of Pale Pass that the invasion came to an end. It was Remon who united the human lands of Cyrodiil and defeated the Akaviri invaders. Remon is one of the first documented and widely accepted of the mythic Dragonborn, those anointed by Akatosh and Alessia themselves. Born with the soul of a dragon, is what his followers would say. Reports differ widely on the nature of the Battle of Pale Pass, but the end result is the same, that the remaining Dragon Guard, upon hearing the voice of Remon Cyrodiil, knelt and swore their lives to him, their conqueror and savior. Fragments from late-era texts refer to the warriors dropping on their knees, saying, "We were not hunting, or did not intend," author rough translation, continuing, "We have been searching for you." They protected Remon with their lives, as well as his descendants as the Remon dynasty ushered in Tamriel's Second Era. It was through these years that their reach extended, and their order grew to become the Blades. Their conquest of the dragons complete, they only sought to protect the Dragonborn, and through him, the Empire. They reached their height late through the Third Era under the rule of the Septim Emperors. Despite their numbers, they kept their secrecy. The most visible and well-documented were the members who personally guarded the Emperor, still wearing original Akaviri armor. But that was just the tip of the spear, for the Blades were a larger organization, stretching to every corner of Tamriel. These agents were of every race. They were merchants, thieves, craftsmen, mages, and warriors, all acting as spies, protecting the Emperor as needed, and operating in secret. They often acted alone, but some fragments speak of them meeting in secret fortresses along the continent, the most famous being Cyrodiil's Cloud Ruler Temple, where they hung the swords of those slain protecting the Dragonborn. Other maps speak of Windscour Temple under the great expanse of Hammerfell's Alakir Desert, Skyhaven Temple in the mountains of Skyrim, and Stormtalon Temple east of Wayrest. They were known to have a Grand Master who often lived among the people, unknown to others. The nature of their communications, meeting places, and missions were known only to a few elite members. The only two to know all were the Grandmaster himself and the Chronicler, whose only job was to make sure the group's mission was never known, but never lost. With the death of Uriel Septim VII and his son Martin, the Third Era came to a close, with the Blades fortifying themselves deep within Cyrodiil's Cloud Ruler Temple as they waited for a Dragonborn to return when they would be called upon again. The Empire of the Fourth Era no longer saw the Blades openly protecting it, or the Emperors. That role is now filled by the Penitus Oculatus, a purely imperial organization. But the Blades continued their secret work to watch for the Dragonborn and guard against future enemies. The Blades were among the first to see the signs that the Thalmor of the Aldmeria Dominion were not remaining isolated within their borders forever. They could do what the Penitus Oculatus, servant to imperial policy, could not, and thus earned the lasting hatred of the Thalmor. The warnings of the Blades were proved right, as is well known to all. The great war between the Empire and the Thalmor consumed the Empire and nearly destroyed it. Emperor Titus Mede II eventually brokered peace with the Thalmor, but at a price many of us still bear. The reach and destructive nature of the Thalmor is known to many. Author's note in my family firsthand. Okay, let me do that again. The reach and destructive nature of the Thalmor is known to many. Author's note in my family firsthand. They are not fools. They knew early on that the Blades were an enemy, so they hunted them throughout the Great War. Some were killed defending their temples, others as they slept in their hideaways alone. Some fought, some ran, some hid, but the Thalmor found them all. There are those that say the Blades still exist around us, in hiding from the Thalmor, waiting as they have done time and time again for a Dragonborn to return, for one to protect, for one to guide them, for one to annoy, for one to argue with. The secrets of Ragnvald. 2 hero hearts, 2 hidden keys, 1 fallen priest who lies beneath, Hail Sarek, hail Torsten, raise them in your songs, who tricked Mad King Otar and rescued Ragnvald for all. Otar, once our chieftain, glorious in battle, fair in judgment, those days ended in pain. Dark voices whispered into Otar's mind, nobility shouted down, once good, now craven priest. Fair folks of Ragnvald, good Nords and true, broken by his will, our city, eaten alive. Send Sarek, send Torsten, sure spirit swords that don't fail. Otar was bent back, but never destroyed, bound instead, containing 2 heroes, 2 keys. Yee. Alright, there should be... Says there's something between Frostmoth and the wreck of the Strident Squall. So I'm going to try headed this way, see if I can find it. You might hear some boofing in the background. My dog Bo has decided that there is danger. And since there isn't danger, and we can't convince him otherwise... Who are these guys? They look like Skull. And they're running really fast. So, let's see. What's happening? Hey guys.
We have come south to test our worth against the mighty Netch. Will you join us?
A Netch?
The giant air floaters from the dark elf land.
Yeah, I know what it is,
Only
but why would you kill
the
it?
brave dare to hunt them. Only the strong survive them. Come, test yourself against the beast with us. We all will share in the glory of the hunt.
Okay, I'll join them
Well met,
because
friend.
Skull faction.
May we all fight or die well.
I'll paint the snow with your blood. That's the last of us.
Our victory will bring meat and bones to our people and glory to our families.
Cool.
It was a good hunt.
You say so. It's a niche. Okay, I see a little house. So, head that way. What is that? Oh, you guys. Where are you? I have much better running and magic animation, so I'm looking at her like, what are you doing? You look like a dork. Yeah, I'm going back into first person with her. She's not worth watching run. No, that's okay. Oh, hey. Running? What's the matter? You don't like fire? Oh, and I don't have fingernail. I don't have nail polish on. Oh, it's just the worst. Okay. Yeah, I can steal again. If I can't unlock it, why do you give me the option? Legacy of the Dragonborn. Okay. There's a secret in this house. Oh, that's... Yeah, see, that tree probably shouldn't be looking like it's burning, but oh well. It's pretty cold, man. Alright, what am I doing? Oh, hey, Vandal. Hi, sweetheart. Ooh, I see a hatch. Okay. Hello, love. You go down in the deep dark cellar with me? Hello, baby. Vandal's on my lap. Want to see what's up in cold, cold Souls time. Uh-oh, I shocked him. Are you coming back anyway? It's okay? You're cool?
Listen to this one. My nights have been impossible to bear without you. I beg of you, please depart that blasted isle and return to solitude at once.
No more. What a fool.
Do you think he's the one we left in the tunnel?
Who cares? Nods all look the same to me.
Wait. Did you hear that? Sounds like those ash spawn went back.
Well, at least if the other Nord returns, they'll take care of him. I've almost got enough.
Every day, kitty. Every day we have to argue over the keyboard.
Need
No.
one good haul.
What was that?
Thou art jerks. Lusty Arconian maid. Alright. How dare you guys leave all these books on the ground? Rodolph's journal. I've arrived in Solstheim and moved into an old house on the hill by the shore. Whoever lived here before is long gone. I can see well out into the waters from my vantage here and can hear all things behind and around. Dunmer bandits wander the woods at night, but I don't fear them. There's a calling from the depths, a rumble drone that sings to me at night. I've started sleeping in the basement and keeping a knife near. Call is loudest down here. I'll be ready for whatever is coming. It is as if a great machine reverberates beneath me. I tire of waiting for the caller underneath to emerge. I walked to town and bought some digging tools, shovel, pick. I started to break down the wall behind the bookshelf and dig down slow going. I put the bookshelf back when I finished digging. Why? No house guests here, but I feel I have something to hide. How can I make Bjorn hear what I've heard? I must not lose him yet. I must remain in this place, for I know I will know the truth soon. A murmur in the earth, and I will talk. I lay my head against the dirt. Fire in the deep. Drums in the deep. Letter 2 for Olduf. Olduf, light and strength. I feel your words are not your own, and I worry dearly for your health. I beg of you, please depart that blasted isle and return to solitude at once. My nights have been almost impossible to bear without you. To lose you would be the death of me. My love, if you do not return soon, I will come for you. Bjorn... Okay, let's see, this is a hell of a name. Bjornolfur. Now, what do you think, kitty? Bjornolfur? Okay. Mallory's journal. Lucky to have talked my way out of the gates at Bruma. Time to leave Cyrodiil. Skyrim, not so bad if you don't mind the smell of mammoth. Maybe I can forget the research, forget the contract. The air is clean here. Caravan brought questions with it. They'll catch up sooner or later. Money won't do any good. Need some dwarven junk to pacify them, but how? Markarth was promising, but locked up tight, and I'm no thief. Need to find another way. Highwaymen killed the driver and tried to rob me. Vivek must have been with me. Managed to talk them into working for me to excavate dwarven ruins. They are cantering. Safer than the cities anyway. These bandits are thick, but nobody's gonna find me down here. I actually found some artifacts. Must try to find a buyer. Maybe I'll actually make enough coin to pay those fools what I've promised for their labor. Can't go to Markarth again. Staying in the ruins for now. What's my next move? I don't know. Okay, behind the bookcase. Shelf. Yeah, I don't think I've done this because I very rarely, read books in the place that I'm in. Hello, kitty. My sweetheart. Hello, you. You're a good boy. He lifts his little head up for nose boops and just stares at me. Dude, he's the sweetest little boy. Plus he leans on me, puts his entire body weight on me. And then he slowly goes to sleep. Today may not be very sleepy though, because I'm talking more. Bjornolfr is... Oh! Bjornolfr, I thought... Okay, I get it. These names are, rough. So, a woman came here, and Bjornolfr asked her to come home. Ebony Raven. Oh, hey! Favor costs reduced by 20% if you follow a Daedric Prince. Nice! Okay, yeah, that I've always wondered what that was in the display, and that's it. Cool. Okay, so... I'm sorry, Bjornolfr. Is her body around here somewhere? It's a Reaver. You're a Reaver. I don't know. Where is she? Okay. Okay, summoning Karstag. I don't know if I can do that. Let's see. Let's look it up. Okay. Alright, let me see if I can find Glacial Cave. Oh, still thinks there's danger. Okay. So, if I've already been in there, I've probably already gotten skull, Castle Karstag Ruins. Okay, so I have been through here, but I didn't summon him. Let's see if I have the skull. Thank you, Fafnir. You found me a shiny gem. Fafnir, you're the best. Okay. Yeah, I probably don't have it. Well, I'm gonna run through Glacial Cave. Maybe I'm not. Let's see. Let's see if it's small. It just looks like these places are big. I don't know if I have picked up the quest items, if they're huge, if it's worth it. But I can fight a ghost giant, apparently. You're a skull. You're not the skull, are you? Take Karstag's skull! Hey, it's on the wall. Huh? Okay, yeah, so it's just embedded in the wall. It's not even marked as, quest. Okay. Pretty. Hey. Alright, let's see if we can get out of here before it attacks. Kaidan will forgive me for not killing a random horker. Or is that to tell him? Okay, this says, once the skull has been obtained from the cave, it must be taken to Castle Karstag Ruins, which can be unlocked at a master level or traveling through the Castle Karstag caverns and placed upon his throne. Alright. Don't see a marker for the ruins. Alright, so it looks like this is the place with the big, open spot. at the end. I should be able to just run through here. Everything's respawned. But I don't really have to kill it, I can just run by. I don't know if anybody's ever like translated Weakling. Whoa, level 90. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna use some fire magic here, folks. Okay, let's see. Firestorm it is. Okay, and... Yikes. What? I don't... Oh my god, I don't have enough magicka. Okay. How can I not have enough magicka? What the hell? I have like 400 base, don't I? Yeah, I have 470 and that's not enough magicka. Alright, well, we are gonna summon something pretty quick. Where are my shouts? Hall of Valor sounds good.
What? What?
Alright, let's find a less costly. Alright. Oof. Oh, you're summoning ads. Rude. Okay, I'm gonna go back to Unbounded Storms because I've got area. Oh wow, I am out of magic. I mean, I'm out of potions. Alright. Let's hear it for a one-hander. Wow, that's it? Ectoplasm? Oh, I suppose 5 filled Grand Soul Gems. What? And that's it? I suppose if there was anything here, I've already looted it, so... Alright, but that was cool. That may be the end of Solstheim. So I've done all the Dragonborn main quests. I've done the Raven Rock and Skull Village quests. I've done Thirsk. I've done all the dungeons and the miscellaneous. The only thing left is the Ebony Warrior, who will show up when I'm 80. Okay, so Forgotten Vale Books Quest is the exact name of the spell of the quest that I have had bugged. Okay, I can check it here. Kind of giving up on that though. It's not really that big of a deal. Okay. Yeah, I've done all of Tsunami's journals. Orion's notes I've done. These two are bugged because I didn't properly patch Creation Club. Hand of Glory's broken. Oh yeah, Orgnar Brewer. You know, the Orgnar's Keg Breaker. I hate the voice actor in that, so I may not even do it. Okay, and these are Hand of Glory, and that's bugged also. Alright, so I've got some Legacy of the Dragonborn stuff that I can do. That was cool though, I've never fought Karstag. Safe house.
Sorry, forget I said that.
The Seed. Ancient Tales of the Dwemer Part 2 by Marabar Sewell. The hamlet village of Lorik was a quiet, peaceful Dwemer community nestled in the monochrome grey and tan dunes and boulders of the Dejast. No vegetation of any kind grew in Lorik, though there were blackened vestiges of long-dead trees scattered throughout the town. Candida, arriving by a caravan, looked at her new home with despair. She was used to the forest land of the north where her father's family had hailed. Here there was no shade, little water, and a great open sky. It looked like a dead land. Her mother's family took Candida and her younger brother Nevith in and was very kind to the orphans, but she felt lonely in the alien village. It was not until she met an old Argonian woman who worked at the water factory that Candida found a friend. Her name was Sigertha, and she said that her family had lived in Lorik centuries before the Dwemer arrived, when it was a great and beauteous forest. "Why did the trees die?" asked Candida. "When there were Argonians only in this land, we never cut trees, for we had no need for fuel or wooden structures such as you use. When the Dwemer came, we allowed them to use the plants as they needed them, provided they never touched the hist, which are sacred to us and to the land. For many years we lived peaceably. No one wanted for anything. What happened? Some of your scientists discovered that distilling a certain tree sap, molding it and drying it, they could create a resilient kind of armor called resin," said Sigertha. "Most of the trees that grew here had very thin ichor in their branches, but not the hist. Many of them fairly glistened with sap, which made the Dwemer merchants greedy. They hired a woodsman named Junin to start clearing the sacred arbors for profit." The old Argonian woman looked to the dusty ground and sighed. "Of course, we Argonians cried out against it. It was our home, and the hist, once gone, would never return. The merchants reconsidered, but Junin took it on his own to break our spirit. He proved one terrible, bloody day that his prodigious skill with the axe could be used against people as well as trees. Any Argonian who stood in his way was hewn asunder, children as well. The Dwemer people of Lorth closed their doors and their ears to the cries of murder." "Horrible," gasped Candida. "It is difficult to explain," said Sigertha, "but the deaths of our living ones was not near as horrible to us as the deaths of our trees. You must understand that to my people, the hist are where we come from and where we are going. To destroy our bodies is nothing. To destroy our trees is to annihilate us utterly. When Junin then turned his axe on the Hist, he killed the land. The water disappeared, the animals died, and all the other life that the trees nourished crumbled and dried to dust. But you are still here? Asked Candida. Why didn't you leave? For us, we are trapped. I am one of the last of a dying people. Few of us are strong enough to live away from our ancestral groves, and sometimes, even now, there's a perfume in the air of Lorich that gives us life. It will not be long until we are all gone. Candida felt tears welling in her eyes. And I will be alone in this horrible place, with no trees and no friends? We Argonians have an expression, said Sigertha with a sad smile, taking Candida's hand, that the best soil for a seed is found in your heart. Candida looked into the palm of her hand and saw that Sigertha had given her a small black pellet. It was a seed. It looks dead. It can only grow in one place in all of Lorich, said the old Argonian, outside an old cottage in the hills outside town. So a seed in the heart, doesn't that mean you bury the person with... Okay. Outside an old cottage in the hills outside town. I cannot go there, for the owner would kill me on sight, and like all my people, I am too frail to defend myself now. But you can go there and plant the seed. What will happen? Asked Candida. Will the Hist return? No, but some part of their power will. That night, Candida stole from her house and into the hills. She knew the cottage Sigertha had spoken of. Her aunt and uncle had told her never to go there. As she approached it, the door opened, and an old but powerfully built man appeared, a mighty axe slung over his shoulder. What are you doing here, child? He demanded. In the dark, I almost took you to be a lizard man. I lost my way in the dark, she said quickly. I'm trying to get back to my home in Lorich. Be on your way, then. Do you have a candle I might have? She asked piteously. I've been walking in circles, and I'm afraid I'll only return back here without any light. The old man grumbled and walked into his house. Quickly, Candida dug a hole in the dry dirt and buried the seed as deeply as she could. He returned with a lit candle. See to it you don't come back here, he growled, or I'll chop you in half. He returned to his house and fire. The next morning when he awoke and opened the door, he found that his cottage was entirely sealed within an enormous tree. He picked up his axe and delivered blow after blow to the wood, but he could never break through. He tried side chops, but the wood healed itself. He tried an upper chop followed by an under chop to form a wedge, but the wood sealed. Much time went by before someone discovered old Junin's emaciated body lying in front of his open door, still holding his blunted, broken axe. It was a mystery to all what he had been chopping with it. The legend began circulating through Lorich that Hist sap was found on his blade. Shortly thereafter, small desert flowers began pushing through the dry dirt of the town. Trees and plants newly sown began to live tolerably well, if not luxuriantly. The Hist did not return, but Candida and the people of Lorich noticed that at a certain time around twilight, long, wide shadows of great bygone trees would fill the streets and hills. Publisher's note: The Seed is one of Marabar Sul's tales which origins are well known. This tale originated from the Argonian slaves of southern Morrowind. Marabar Sul merely replaced the Dunmer with Dwemer, and claimed he found it in a Dwemer ruin. Furthermore, he later claimed that the Argonian version of the tale was merely a retelling of his original. Lorich, while clearly not a Dwemer name, simply does not exist, and in fact, Lorich was a name commonly used incorrectly for Dunmer men in Gorfelim's plays. The Argonian versions of the story usually take place in Vardenfell, usually in the Telvanni city of Sadrith Mora. Of course, the so-called scholars of Temple Zero will probably claim the story has something to do with Lorcan, simply because the town starts with the letter L. The Song of Pelennor, Volume 6? So we don't have any of the Song of Pelennor. Okay, I'm going to leave that for now. Okay, I'm going to pick up the rest of these books. That might be out of order. I'll go pick them up in order. Bjorn, do not come to this place. I have not much self left. The earth will take us both. Oops. Okay, I'm gonna ask Kaidan to actually come with me now. He's gonna be upset he missed a level 90 frost giant, but maybe I won't tell him that either. I won't tell him about the Horker. Poor guy. I'm sorry, baby. You would have really liked that.
I missed you.
I missed you too.
That's the face I fell in love with.
Hey, hon. Come on, let's get going.
Let's go.
Thanks for watching. Wishing you found family, creative hobbies, a hot bath after a long day, and food you love as much as Saleya loves apple pies.